Hello everyone and welcome back to another tutorial. In this video we're going to be looking at pivot tables and more specifically how we can use the sum, average and count functions within the pivot table to give us the desired summaries we need without having to do any complicated calculations or just having to add anything extra to our data. So we've got a basic data set we're going to be using, and we've used this one previously. Simply it was just downloaded from a website that is particularly good at providing some sample data. So again, obviously on that note, this is sample data. There is no personal information being used in this. It's all randomly generated. So as with all of our data, if there is any coincidence where data does look genuine, I can assure you it's not. It's just randomly generated and it'll just be just by chance. So what I'll do is put a link to the website in the description to this video. So if you want to download that data yourself, you can do. So what we're going to do is first we've put our pivot table in. So if you're not sure on how to insert a pivot table, you can check one of our previous videos around pivot tables that will show you everything you need from start to finish. What we are going to do is we're just going to simply use the region section, or the region data point, should I say. So we've got central, east and west. And then we're going to just bring in the total, and total for us is just what the sales total is. And you can see by default it's just going to give us that sum of total. So if you wanted to have your total sales obviously by region, all you need to do is drag it in, and you can see clearly just by down the right hand side here, you can see it's summarising by the sum of total. But let's say you wanted to do a count, so you can see the total number of sales that you had in Central using just this total field, or maybe you want to look at what the average sale was just by using, again, this field. So what we can do is we can just we can either use the same field, or we can bring that field in multiple times to derive each of these circumstances. And that's exactly what I'll do. So I'm just going to just drag total back down here again, and once more. So you can see we've got 3 iterations of the sum of total, and at the moment they're showing the same for each. So let's say in this first one we actually want that to be the number of sales. So it's just going to literally count the sales total for each by region. So all we need to do is, if we go into our information button, and you can see that at the moment it pops up and we can see summarize by, and it might, depending on the version you're using. I'm actually even using Microsoft Excel on a Mac today, but you'll get exactly the same view. Well, the principle will be exactly the same, although the view might be slightly different. And you can see at the moment, you can see sum has been selected underneath this section of summarized by. So all we're going to do here to get our count is simply go into count, select OK, and you can now see in the bottom right hand corner it's been updated to show count of total, and you can see us back in column B here. It's now been changed to count of total, and you can now see the total number of sales by region. So Central had 24, East had 13 and West had 6. Going on to the next one, all we need to do is, if we go back into our information button, but this time for the second instance we have the sum of total, and this time we'll go into average, so we can go OK, and you can see as quick and easy as that, it changes everything to average, so we can now see what the average sale value was. And well, okay, it is like, I was then going to say it's not very different at all, but yeah, between Central and West you can see there's not a great difference in the average sale, but they are both quite a bit higher than the West, obviously by about, trying to do some quick maths here, about 40, just less than £40. So what we can do with this one as well is we'll just quickly change our formatting. So we can do that simply by going to our information button once more, and this time we'll go into the number section, and we'll just select currency, and we'll get rid of the 2 decimal places and go OK, OK again, and I'll just do that one more time for our sales total, just so it tidies it up a bit. And once again, if you're not familiar with how to do this, and I may be rushing through this quite quickly at the moment, all you need to do is go and check out our previous videos that go into a lot more depth on how to do the formatting and pivot tables. And you can see that just makes it look a bit better in our table for obviously reading when we're talking about pounds and currency rather than actual numbers. So we've now managed to get what we achieved. We wanted our count, so we can see the total number of sales per region. We can get the average sale, so we can see that that's fine, and we can then get our sum of our sales, so the overall total sales sold. And this is particularly useful bringing these additional columns in, or so I say fields, because it allows us to actually understand the data a bit more. Because we can actually see that obviously here in West It's basically the reason it's obviously a lot lower than Central is simply because the sales volume. There's a lot more sales in Central than there were in West, especially when we know that the average sales was about the same. So everyone is selling about the same average sale per transaction. It's just that Central is doing obviously a heck of a lot more sales than West is. And obviously this is not the limit. You can take this a bit further. So if you wanted to bring total in one more time, you then have these options of doing max and min. So we can go into the information one more time, and you can actually see these are all the options that you have. You've probably seen it on the screen already, but just to touch on it, you can see there's many other options that you have when using the options available in pivot tables when you want to summarize. And the other one you can do is just go into max or min. I'll select max for this instance. And you can now see the max sale that was achieved in the data. And this basically means this is the largest sales transaction that happened. Obviously, it's probably made up of maybe multiple different items, but ultimately this is the largest transaction within this overall total. So you can see overall there was 24 sales, but the largest of those sales was accounted for over 10%, obviously more like 15% of the overall total. And once again, we'll just change the formatting of that, go back into number, just so we're back into currency so it all looks familiar. And it wasn't the purpose of this video, but again, you've probably now got a bit more insight and you're probably an expert in going through and changing the formatting for the values within your pivot tables. So although quite a quick video, we hope this was a great to the point example of what you can do in pivot tables, especially if you're trying to work with your counts, averages and sums. This is a question we regularly get of obviously what can we do to make this easier, and especially you might not want to be using a pivot table for your summary. You might literally just want to use it to obtain a value, i.e. like the averages per each region. If you're going to a meeting, it's a number that you can quickly reference. So again, this is another use for them. So you don't have to use pivot tables just for when you're presenting. They're also particularly useful just to have in your back pocket if you quickly need to analyze your data and obtain some values. So if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. We've got a lot more videos that are coming out going into more depth with other formulas and functions, and also we'll continue to look at pivot tables and allow you to understand the benefits and the additional tricks that are available with them. If you haven't again already, sorry I've said that twice now, do give the video a like. It not only allows us to see what content you like and would like to see more of, it's obviously also very beneficial for the channel as well. So thank you very much for watching, and we shall see you in the next video. Before you go, don't forget to check out the other videos on our channel. You'll see everything from other functions and formulas through to tips and tricks. We've also created some playlists so you can see these categorized together, so make sure you check those out and get all those useful information. And obviously, as always, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification button.